Hey, it's Rob. Today was absolutely gorgeous. It looks like the snow is finally gone and spring is on the way. Families are spending time outside again, and the children can't wait to play in the yard. There are not many things more innocent and refreshing than the simplicity of children playing together on the community jungle gym. But sometimes as we grow into adulthood, we tend to lose the appreciation of the pure and simple by over-complicating it to the point that we're all left scratching our heads with no clue as to what the original point actually was. As Christian leaders, we can do the same thing with the gospel. It's imperative in the midst of all the confusion that we keep the gospel presentation simple. Yet many times in our attempt to do this, we end up overcomplicating it, only to humanize it with the help of various trending approaches, all in the name of evangelism. Now, these approaches range from pop culture techniques to higher education headiness to entertainment, or even presenting ourselves as hyper vulnerable, all in hopes of better relating the message to the hearer. Yet Scripture clearly tells us it's by God's design that the gospel is to appear foolish. He did this to ensure only He receives the credit for the miraculous saving of the human soul. As the presenters of this glorious message, anything we do that attempts to add to it is actually taking away from it, making it appear that it needs our help to be relevant and that it's not sufficient to save in and of itself. And by doing this, we devalue the power of the foolishness of the gospel and forsake God of the opportunity to glorify His Son. Now, we want to make the sharing of the gospel comfortable, but presenting the gospel should always be something awkward for my flesh. If I truly understand the holiness of the message and the price that God the Creator gave to redeem me back to Himself, it should cause great discomfort thinking that my sin is why His Son had to lay down His life to become my sacrifice. Now, in a spirit-filled sense, the sharing of the gospel will begin to flow naturally, and it'll flow naturally out of my new holy nature. But the moment I attempt to impose anything else onto this divine message, I draw attention back to myself and have digressed into depending upon my own ability, rendering the gospel void of the eternal transformational power to save. You see, within the mercy and grace of the gospel lies a core understanding of the fear of God. A gospel that is manipulated to take off the awkward edge or make the hearer feel comfortable is not the gospel of Christ and will not bear the fruit of a changed life. When we remove this element of the gospel, we are crafting an image of a divine being that resembles us, but does not even closely resemble the true image of its bearer. God is holy and cannot tolerate sinful practices. He demands that the penalty of sin be paid, which I am incapable of doing. This is the fear of God. But in His great desire to reconcile us back to Himself, He created the ultimate plan that demonstrated to us how wide, how long, how high, and how deep His love for us really is, by redeeming us through the sacrifice of His one and only Son, thereby canceling my debt. This is the grace of God. And this is the divine simplicity of the power of the gospel. This is the simple truth. The presentation of the gospel should equally mingle the grace of God with the fear of God. Neither can be fully understood without the other. We must always ensure the message of the cross never be framed to be anything more or anything less than the foolishness it is to the world. This way, those who come to Christ will know it is the only gospel that possesses the very power of God to save us, and He alone will receive the glory. John 3:16 and 17 tells us, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not His Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through Him might be saved." In the midst of the continuing global crisis, this is the message of the hour. This is the solution to every problem. This is the hope that we are longing for. Only the simple truth of the gospel has the power in and of itself to save anyone who believes. May God bless you and your precious families on this absolutely beautiful day.